Hello and welcome to the show. I am here today going to be taking a look at the Rally 4. A big thank you to the developers who sent me a code a little bit early to this game. I've got to play it a little bit early, played it the last couple of days. And I have to say, I didn't have massively high expectations going into this one. But I have really quite enjoyed myself. This has been a pretty damn good game. It's a lot better than I expected it to be. We're gonna take a look at the V Rally mode. At the moment, the multiplayer I don't think was, or the last time I looked, the servers weren't online yet because I'm recording this before the game's officially out. So you have your little, well, this is the activity hub. So this is all the different events that we have currently got going on. We've got Hillclimb, it's a rally in America, the Extreme Corner, which is quickly becoming one of my favourite events. We have got Rallycross, we have got another round of Extreme Corner, and we have got a bit of a Chinese rally stage going on over there. Shall we go? Let's start by showing off. I haven't done the Niger Extreme Corner event yet. I don't actually know if I've done the Detroit one either. Let's go here. I like this event. The other ones, I mean, are all kind of self-explanatory. Rallycross, hill climbs, you know, straight up normal rallying. There is also some buggy racing, which is well, kind of like your buggies, trophy trucks, your big extreme off-road vehicles. The Extreme Corner, actually no, I have done this one, I got the name confused with something else. The Extreme Corner is, well, basically a high-speed precision driving test, and I love autocross, so this is very much my sort of event. Very much my sort of event. I mean, you can certainly see the influences from the Dirt series in this game as we're going to get ready. So this is a 3-lap race around a kind of abandoned industrial site, and it's all about close quarters car control. There are jumps for you to worry about, there are handbrake turns, there are various different obstacles. There's even, pretty sure this is a circuit where there's a jump out of a window, because why not? It's a little bit mad, but I quite like it, and to be fair, that's a sort of theme that continues through the game. Of course, this doesn't have any licenses to worry about, certainly not in terms of real-life motorsport. There are licensed cars, but we don't have any, well, real-life rally stages. It hasn't got to stick to the real-life stuff particularly, so it can have fun with it. And that is pretty damn good. Some of the circuits are less exciting than others, but there are some absolutely glorious stages which we will get to in a little while. The most important thing, you are probably wondering, and something that I always say, is handling physics. Of course, a driving game can be as good as it likes, but if the handling physics are rubbish, it's just not going to be very fun to play. And I was always a little bit concerned that this game might struggle with the handling. I am very glad to say that it is a lot of fun. It is not an ultra-realistic handling model. That's okay. You know, it's a perfectly, I say it's perfectly serviceable. That does it a little bit of a disjustice. I am enjoying driving the cars on here. They've got quite a lot of grip. Yeah, they have got quite a lot of grip. At times, perhaps my biggest, I say, criticism of it is the brakes feel quite weak, even on tarmac. Of course, depending on the surface you're driving, yeah, you're going to have different performance, you're going to have different levels of grip. But especially noticeable on tarmac with some of the higher tier rally cars, it does feel like you get on the brakes and it takes them a long time to slow down. Sure, these are fairly quick cars, but I mean, rally cars are more about acceleration than they are ultimate top speed. Yes, they are fairly quick accelerating, but they tend to run out of gears before they get into ludicrous territory. And it does feel, I don't know whether it is just me, but it does feel like they take a little longer to slow down than expected. But in terms of actual cornering, yeah, they're actually very good fun to drive. It's different to driving in the likes of Dirt. Perhaps on here they are a little bit more grippy, but on the whole, it's fun. And, I mean, I've driven all sorts of games with vaguely inconsistent handling models, and some that are still kind of fun while being a little bit wonky. I mean, outside of the braking, I've not really got any complaints with this. It's just a nice, solid arcadey handling model. Perhaps at times, certainly with the off-road buggies, you don't quite get a sense of the, the vehicles bouncing around on the rough terrain as much as you might like, because they are pretty extreme off-road vehicles. But still, to actually drive the cars is, yeah, very, very good fun. It's not a bad looking game either. This is perhaps not the best level to show off. While it's a fun driving challenge around here, it certainly is not the prettiest. It's not supposed to be. I mean, yeah, there are games with slightly better graphics out there. There is a full interior view, if I can get to it. Once we've got let's get around the hairpin first, and then we'll fart around with camera angles. Yeah, there is a full interior view that is slightly showing up a little bit funky, typical, through there, slightly odd reflection going on. Yeah, it's not a terrible interior view in the car. In general, yeah, not a bad looking game. I have come across a couple of bugs with it, mostly to do with the AI in the rallycross events. They can be a little bit derpy, and there is a touch inconsistency with difficulty. This particular race, I have got the AI on. Whoopsie daisy, nearly missed that, very nearly rolled. You can roll cars, I've tried. I did it on the tutorial stage. But literally within about 2 minutes of playing the game, I was upside down in a Volkswagen. But anyway, yes, the AI, I've had the AI get quite derpy at rallycross stages a couple of times, not every time, but I have had one race where the AI continually took joker laps, made it quite easy for me. I had one race where the AI continually fell off at one particular corner, and again, as entertaining as that was, did kind of ruin the competition. I also had an issue with after getting through the very tutorial stuff, trying to select the first car. I would purchase the first car and then didn't unlock the events I then needed to use with the car, which was a little bit peculiar. I restarted my game and it was fine. So yeah, there have been a little one or two bugs, but on the most part, yeah, I've not had too many issues. So this looks interesting. It does look very interesting. Car repairs. So, as you go through, when you're doing a multiple stage event, your vehicle will probably get damaged. I mean, I didn't hit a wall in any of that. This is just wear and tear. Bodywork from landing of the jumps, suspension from landing of the jumps, tyres from, well, just being run. And your repairs cost money. So if you smash your car up throughout the course of an event, not only is there a time limit for the repairs, which we're not going to get near to hitting, this is going to be... Oh, you also need some brakes. This is also going to cost you money. So, admittedly, it isn't a huge chunk of cash, considering this race event is for like $30,000 and it's cost us $300 to fix up the car. But we'll get into the economy again a little bit more in depth. But I like, personally, having that management side. I like having that. Threat would be the wrong term, but you've got to be. I say, got to be concerned. There is a impact if you drive like a muppet with your car. You are going to have to pay the money to fix the vehicles, and the actual damage model on this game is pretty good. Okay, it's not up there with Beam. Let's face it, not much is, but the cars will bend. The cars will buckle. They will be twisted bits of bodywork around the place. This circuit I have absolutely not seen. There are some pretty damn spectacular circuits. This one here is looking pretty good for an interesting... Bloody hell, this is more of a... I think I need a dune buggy, not a Honda CR. I'm gonna be honest here. Can I have a sand rail or something? I don't think the CRZ was quite intended. What is this? That's a fantastically mad corner. And this is what I was talking about with the whole... I am, in some ways, I'm glad that this doesn't have to bother trying to have a... Oh god, are we going to go for a loop? Yep, we are going to go for a loop through here. It's not trying to do the actual stages of the World Rally Championship because it can go mad. When it wants to go mad, it can go absolutely mad in terms of creativity, in terms of interesting stages, and in terms of location. I mean, yeah, okay, this is a big desert. I mean, there's just a lot of sand around here, but it's still a pretty, well, impressive-looking desert, and we've got just some of the most impressive-looking corners I think I've ever tackled. We're going to go round again. Just random big old stone... I say monuments, that's not quite the right term. Where the hell are we going? Are we just... Well, I mean, I'm glad I chose this level to record a video on. I mean, look at it. It's bonkers. Is this the end of the lap? No, I think we're still going. We're just going to go at 100 and something kilometres an hour. Don't know how many miles an hour that is. Oh, very, very nearly having a tremendous accident. Oh, that looks like the start-finish line. That's good. We are losing a little bit of time in all of that. AI difficulty is a strange thing. As I said, I had issues with, well, a little issues with the AI in Rallycross. Sometimes you'd have good fun with them. Sometimes they do derpy things. Difficulty in a lot of these stages is inconsistent. Inconsistent is the word I'm going to go for. Some stages you can be absolutely mullering the AIs, and then the next one you can be really struggling. And I'm not even talking about in different events where, you know, there might be different cars being run or you might need to upgrade your car. Like stage to stage in a 2 rally championship, I went from the first stage being about 20 seconds down to the second stage being 18 seconds up by the second sector. It's a little bit inconsistent. Admittedly, I mean, while I'd like to think I'm an okay driver, there are better drivers out there than me, but this is on max difficulty we're talking about. I would perhaps like the AI to be a little bit tougher, but a little bit more consistent with it. It's no fun winning stages by absolutely huge margins. This stage here is apparently looking like it's going to be a tougher one. We were 4 seconds down. I'm going to try and be braver with the vehicle as and where I can here. We've got some damage done to the... Oh, this is going to hurt. I think... No, we're fine. Just about landed that one. Yeah, the front bumper's a little bit of a wonky angle here. I haven't actually got any damage to the side of the car. Oh, well, that's not good. That's not good. And plummet down the side of a mountain we go, I think. That's... Oh. And, well, I'm showing you the crash damage, okay? But this is actually not the, one of the Alpine, the Renault Alpine GTA, that has got quite a lot of deformability on that. You can smack the rear. I've had all sorts of peculiar shapes come out of that particular car, although that was in rallycross races where, well, I mean, you get bumped and you get nudged around the place. This, we've just explored some rocks and nearly... Well, you can kind of see with the sort of front bumper being twisted in and so on. One more lap, one last time around this mad circuit whoop. The camera, speaking of, well, thinking of cameras and some of the incredible terrain that we have got going on here, if you do want to go from a third-person perspective, that's, you know, that's fine. The camera will change height depending on what you are doing with the terrain sometimes. There are times where it is a little slow to adjust or looks in a slightly wonky direction. One particular buggy race, I had the camera looking quite a lot above the vehicle. However, when you are going downhill, the camera will tend to sort of pull up, or when you are going around elevation changes, the camera will tend to adjust itself. So you can, on the most part, I mean, you can see what it's doing around here in terms of its, you know, relation to the back of my car, so you can see where you're going, which is pretty nice. I mean, you know, third-person cameras and so on have come a long way from the early games where they were just rigidly fixed behind them and so on, but this does a pretty good job of, even on the most extreme, because let's face it, there is some pretty damn extreme. Again, you see there where the camera's changed to allow us to look up where we're going. It might change a little too quick there so we can see where we're going when we come down, but it means even when you are on these mad stages, the camera will sort itself out. Not a great showing by me, I will be honest. In that one, I had a silly crash, which won't have helped, but you're apparently struggling for pace and all of that, and then we get some money, and then we will move on to, well, an interesting aspect of the game. One that I would quite like to see developed a bit more, but certainly an interesting aspect of the game. So, you might have noticed we have a recruitment tab. And there are various people that we can currently recruit. You run a little race team, and that is made up of a research crew, a mechanic crew, and an agent. So your research crew, they have their own special abilities, they have their own, I guess, areas of expertise, and these guys and girls are used for upgrading your car. All of your vehicles, if we go into... Let's go have a look at our Hillclimb BMW, for example. Oh, that's not quite what I meant to do, but... yeah, so you can customize your car with various paints. You can paint... I mean, it's a little bit perhaps more rudimentary than your Forza paint editor, but there is a livery editor if you don't want to use the basic stuff. That isn't actually at all what I meant to show, but there we go. Meant to go to upgrade shop. So in here there are various upgrades for your vehicle. You've got a performance index for your car. I believe, depending on the area of expertise of your mechanics, will depend on how far they can develop it. So, for example, we've got no one that's good with brakes particularly, so we can't develop the brakes anymore. You have to drive the car or you have to have the mechanics in the car for so long before they'll eventually unlock it, and then you pay money to upgrade the vehicle. Not only that, you've got to pay a salary to your crew. You'll notice here it says per week. The better skilled they are, the more money they are going to want. And I like having a little bit of a management thing going on when it comes to a racing game. I think it's a really interesting idea. Likewise with your mechanic crew, this is about repairing the vehicle out in the races. I think how quickly and how much it's going to cost for you to repair the vehicle. And as I said, you want to try and have a balance. I mean, we've only got brakes. Yeah, I've only got one mechanic that's any good with brakes. So maybe I want to replace one of these guys with somebody who is, you know, an expert at brakes, but not so good at something else, for example. And that's I like that as an idea. It's a really, really interesting idea. I feel like it could have been made a little bit more prominent, perhaps. Certainly, I don't know what it's like when we get into the much later stages of the game, but as it is, I'm having absolutely no problem with money. I'm not really worrying about, you know, can I afford to recruit a much better mechanic, or if I ding my car up on a stage. I don't really care that much, because I'm still earning a large amounts of money per race. I feel like there could have perhaps been a little bit more toughness to all of this. Likewise, there is sponsors. You can get sponsors for your vehicle. I've currently got Renault and eDocs for the current time period. Most of the time, they don't really offer a huge amount of money. I think the current one with Renault is, you know, complete 6 races with a Renault car or something, and it's only 3,000 a race. It's not much. When I'm winning 30,000 per race, I don't feel the necessity, if you like, almost, to manage a lot of this. Which is a shame, because I think it's a really, really interesting idea to have to deal with this. Certainly it's a good baseline going forward, and it does give you more detail, more depth if you want to get into that, although, as I said, a lot of the time I'm not really worrying too much about it. This is my current selection of weird and wonderful vehicles. Other, I say, problems with the game. The car list isn't massive. I kind of think about 50 or so cars. It isn't a particularly huge vehicle list, and while there are plenty of interesting cars, for example, the Renault Alpine that I have been running in the Rallycross, very good fun to drive. You know, you got Civic, you got Mini Countryman, Fiesta. These are sort of your expected Rallycross cars. I guess you've got sort of lower tier and then your higher tier cars. Rallying. It's a decent, interesting, you know, selection of rally cars from classic cars like the Alpine. I've got a BMW M3 just for some rear-wheel drive shenanigans. Mini, Fulvia. There is a Golf. Also, always very happy to see a Renault Clio Mark 1 in a game, just in a game full stop. But yeah, Rally Clio is good fun. Visit a Bath, an Escort, a 911 Safari. Don't see too many of those. Don't see the 911 rally cars in too many games. Citroen DS3, Stratos. Then I haven't quite got these lot unlocked yet, but Lancia Delta 037, Delta S4 is in here. S2000. Then you go up to a Skoda. You don't see Skodas too often in in games full stop outside of rallying, but I'd like to see more Skodas in general. But there is the Fabia, the R5. There is a GT3 RS. I guess for tarmac rallies, but either way, I like seeing it there. And another Porsche, the RGT, is in all of this. They look very strange on off-road suspension. Renault 5 Turbo, of course, for madness. Renault Megane is in here. Citroen Zara, Opel Manta, and then you move up to kind of the current WRC cars and R5 cars in the mix as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad selection, an interesting selection, certainly, of rally cars. No Subarus by the look of it, unless I have missed something along the way. I don't think I have. But yeah, interesting enough selection of rally cars. There are some Hillclimb cars. Again, there's 5 of these. However, one of the problems is that a lot of these cars only have maybe 1 or 2 in their category. The BMW for example, is the only one in the Category 1 hill climb. Admittedly, it is slightly faster than this, although that's got a lot more grip. So those are the two Category 2 cars, and then there's the Category 3 cars. The Suzuki SX4 Pikes. Fascinating, interesting, and utterly mad vehicles, yes. I feel like they certainly could do with a little bit more competition within the, within the various categories. With the V Rallycross, again, the Renault Alpine's on a category of its own. You end up racing against the faster cars. Extreme Corner is, your little technical vehicles. There's a Mustang, there's an RX-8, which is always good, and an MX-5. I feel like could do with being just a little bit more. I mean, it doesn't have to be a Forza, a Gran Turismo size car list. You don't need 700-800 cars, but I feel like certainly you could do with 2 or 3 cars per category, perhaps within these specific areas. And likewise, a similar story with the kind of routes, with the maps, if you like. Rally-wise, it's not too bad. We're going to go back to the main menu, because I'm going to go into quick race now rather than whatever I am restricted to in terms of the career. But I'm going to quick game, so this can just go and set us up an event. But actually, I think I've just about unlocked everywhere now, having gone around to all the various bits and pieces. So if you want to do snowy stuff, you go up to Siberia for some rallying. Good fun. Yeah, don't get me wrong, like, what is here is fantastic. What is here is absolutely fantastic. And I do want to go to China to show off the hill climb stage. But, for example, the Extreme Corner, there are only, 1, 2, 3, and that would be 4 in terms of Extreme Corner areas. And that's it. There is no alternate routes. That is a very, very good fun stage to run around, but I feel like you could at least make 4 or 5 different routes out of that particular area. Instead, you've just got one. Great fun to drive through, but might get a little bit boring after a little while. Where I do want to go, though, is to show off China. The hill climb area for China is absolutely fantastic. And when it comes to the hill climbs and so on, there are, all sorts. Well, I say there are all sorts. You can break this down into whichever way you want. You can run the short parts of it, and this is the same for all of the different hill climb things. You can go for the whole thing, or you can run it downhill if you so wish. We are going to run the final section of the course. We're going to go on. We're going to go on very hard. To be fair, when I did this first time, I got absolutely murdered by the AI, so who knows? We can have foggy, or we can have clear skies. Let's go for a nice clear skies hill climb. I'm hoping I can use one of the new cars as well, because I've not driven those yet. I've only been using... Oh, you're going to let me drive everything! Now, that is what I am talking about. I think we're going to have a difficult time, but... Yes, I want the SX4. It is the mightiest of... One of the mightiest of wings, anyway. There are a few... So, when it comes to hill climb cars, they've all got massive wings. They've all got absolutely ridiculous wings. So, yeah, this should certainly fit the bill. This stage was... one of my favourite. This area, it's just incredibly pretty driving up this section. There is another stage. There's a stage in Japan that I drove that was kind of weaving its way around a little town. Incredibly technical sections. I mean, this is the hill climbs are, as you would expect, very technical. You know, you got lots of hairpins, you got lots of short acceleration zones. Christ, it might not have as much time to enjoy the view of the stage when you're driving this as I did with the BMW. It's mad. Hold on, panic. I'm definitely not getting the most out of this car because I don't really know what I'm doing. There's a lot of kind of just panicking and oh crap, I'm about to hit a wall. I mean, that's what hill climb is about at the end of the day. Good God, this is absurd. My mind is struggling immensely. I'm not the best when it comes to the rally games. Oh, that's very narrow. Even I was saying about the Japanese rally stage being very narrow. Yeah, this one here is pretty. I forgot how narrow it got. The wing just about fits. Yeah, I mean, it's... If you have time, I mean, you guys watching will have more time to stop and admire the scenery. If you can stop and admire the scenery, yeah, it's pretty damn impressive, the terrain that they've got around here. We're just going to hold on for dear life. Like, even this, it's good fun to drive. Yeah, it's arcadey. Yeah, it's fairly predictable. You can still stamp on the throttle and get caught out like a muppet, but yeah, it's entertaining, and the handling on this game has made me want to keep driving, even though there is perhaps a lack of content. There's a lack of, certainly in terms of the Extreme Corner, that is something that I very much enjoy on here. There isn't really enough of that. It could perhaps do with being some more cars in each category and perhaps more stages in general. However, it's been so fun to drive, I haven't really bothered too much. I haven't really minded. No, it's not ultra realistic like Dirt Rally, but it has been very good fun. Sometimes, I mean, you know, when it comes to Dirt Rally, you've really got to have absolutely full concentration with that, and even then, it's very easy to make, you know, very silly little mistakes. On here, it's perhaps a little more fun, a little more relaxing experience. That was a very, very quick run through China. Bloody hell. There's definitely a lot more speed in that car. I mean, they reckon 216s are doable. There was a lot of me panicking and not knowing what I was doing in that. That thing is brutal. Shall we go and finish? I want to go have a visit to the Japanese rally. Now, Christ, which stage was it that we were doing? So, I mean, these are... Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I did not know that was a thing. Well, here we go. I'm learning more. So this has got like a random rally generator, if you like. So if you've done all of the rally stages before, then you can go and do these. Maybe I won't ever find the rally stage that I was playing around with before. I don't know if these are used in the career mode at all, but that's really neat. So again, much along the lines of Dirt 4, you know, you've got this huge amount of possibilities in terms of stages. Now, this is using the same area of Japan, so they are going to overlap. It's kind of, I guess, selecting what roads to use. This looks interesting, though. Let's go and do this. Let's go and do this with, I'm thinking a Porsche. I'm thinking, I mean, it's a tarmac rally, so why not, mate, if it's going to let me, of course, why not, oh, it is going to let me, perfect. Why not have a go with, I don't know what resistance means. It's the only stat that's different between the pair of them. I guess we want less resistance? Or is that maybe downforce? Maybe we want more resistance? I don't know. You've got rally... Oh, you haven't got rally lights. Never mind, no rally lights. I was going to pick you for the rally lights, but apparently not. Disappointing. Let's go and see what we've got to tackle with here. Again, haven't driven a rally car this fast before. Haven't had a go with a car this fast. I've been driving a Renault Alpine, the little A110, which is brilliant, but also not a 911. It's quite a difference. It's quite a difference in speed. We might not be very fast. Plenty of colour, plenty colourful around here. As I said, I don't know where this route is going to take us, whether we're going to wander around the little town. The guys do look terrified, I will just say that much. If you look at the eyes of the characters inside the car, they do look on the rather terrified. We're going around a roundabout already. Bloody hell. Yeah, this completely different sort of area to the rally stage that I had driven in the career mode. Bloody hell. But you can see, you can already see how narrow it can potentially get around here. And again, this is an interesting place so far. Let's try and not do anything stupid. As far as pace notes go, fairly solid. They do tend to say chicane, in which I'm expecting it to be a really tight corner, sometimes when it's just a very slight left then right, or right then left, etc. That's the only real, occasionally confusing command, if you like. Well, slightly will tap that. I think we're allowed to get away with that. Scenery is... Well, I mean, trees aren't destructive, but a lot of the barriers you see around the place, they will be knocked down if you find a big orange or yellow or whatever fence, like plastic fencing or whatever. Yeah, you can go through that. I mean, it's not advisable, but you can. Oh, here we go. Yeah, you got your chicanes. I mean, we were going quite slow into all of that already, but sometimes they will catch you out. Jeez, this is stupidly narrow. I am glad that rally games are nowadays happy to go for properly technical stages. V-Rally 3, while a good game, I lost interest. I never really played it as a kid. A lot of people recommended it to me. I quite quickly lost interest in it when you could be just about flat out everywhere because the stages were so open. This is definitely not flat out everywhere. This is definitely not flat out everywhere. As got a lot of narrow, a lot of twisties going on. I have no idea what I'm doing in terms of position. It doesn't seem fit to tell me. We're only halfway through this bloody stage. It's a lot of work. My car's also managed to get surprisingly dusty. I guess I have dumped well, been on the dirt here and there. Whoa, that's maybe a little bit late on the call there. We're going to go for a flight. It's fine. It's less than fine. My Porsche is a little bit stuck. I will say, while the cars visually get damaged, and there is the whole, you know, money to repair cars and so on, it takes a lot to seriously kill them. In even some brutal punishment I gave to a buggy to see what would happen, it kept on going. You can get a lot of things flashing up on. You can see underneath the speedo, kind of like warning lights, if you like. That one's just for bodywork. But yeah, your cars can take a lot of punishment. Visually they'll look battered, but mechanically takes a hell of a lot to kill them. Again, is a little bit of a shame. I would like to see, again, if you're going to go down the whole economy, having to pay for repairing and everything, I'd like to see it be more of a challenge. I'd like to see it be more potentially punishing, because as it is, it's, while there is the, you know, the things there, the options there, the menus there, it's very rarely necessary to worry. Oh, here we go. Now we're into the little town area. Oh, bloody hell. There we go. We're through a fence. There's a lot of colourful flowers around I'm trying not to crash into. Jeez, this is pretty tough. I mean, it was difficult driving the Alpine through here at speed, let alone driving the 911 through here at speed. Oh, God. Yeah, interesting. I think that alleyway there at the end was where the finish line was on the last stage. Oh, that's a solid clonky sign. Oh, where are we going? Oh, wow, that's very narrow as well. That's a this is an incredible stage. I mean, yeah, I'm liking this. And while, yes, this is set... Whoa. Sorry, someone's house. Well, yeah, this is all set in, I guess, one area, and the other random stages will also, you know, potentially loop their way around the place. They're going to loop around in a different way and so on. That's not a good run by me. We did go for a small bit of a flight. Yeah, apparently the AI are much better there than they have been with some of the other stuff. But, yeah, overall, I am pretty damn impressed with this game. I enjoyed it a lot more than expected. As I said, in terms of things like the Extreme Corner, I would love to see more in the way of venues. For that, I love that game mode. I love the idea of that game mode. It is pretty mad. It is pretty damn challenging. But if, you know, if you gave the random course creator to this, or just again some more layouts to this, that would be fantastic. The rally having a random course generator is you know, is good, and some of the stages are absolutely fantastic. The cars drive very, very well. Yeah, I would recommend this game. If it's a choice between this and Dirt 4, it's going to be a surprisingly more difficult choice. It's going to be a surprisingly more difficult choice than I was ever expecting it to be, because I love the mad stages that this has. Some of the incredibly spectacular stages, especially that silly mad venue. I just wish there was perhaps a little bit more, and you know, in terms of the cars, it's great to have the likes of the 911s, just a few more in the different categories. I think Dirt 4 would beat it because of that, but this does a lot of things very, very well. I would like to see perhaps the business, the monetary side expanded a little bit more, certainly, maybe a little bit more restrictive in what you can do. I mean, I can already buy just about any car I want. with relative ease as well. So yeah, it's certainly a lot better than I was expecting it to be, and I'm very glad to say that. It's always good to have more interesting, fun to drive rally games. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.